It is 3 in the morning, the house is silent, and you are awake once again. You are not awake because of a bad dream or a loud noise outside. You are awake because of that familiar, urgent pressure in your bladder. Please remember, this video is for educational purposes only and does not replace professional medical advice. Always consult your doctor before starting new routines. For many of us over the age of 60, this nightly disruption has become a deeply frustrating routine. We often assume this is simply an inevitable part of getting older. Men might blame a prostate issue, while women might blame a weak pelvic floor. However, recent physiological research points to a different and often overlooked culprit. This issue has much less to do with your bladder capacity and a lot more to do with your circulatory system. I would love to know who I am speaking with today. Please pause the video and leave a comment telling me your age and the country you are watching from. It is incredibly encouraging to see a global community of seniors taking proactive steps to manage their health. If this is your first time visiting this channel, please consider subscribing as we navigate the science of aging together. Let us address the root cause of this condition, medically known as nocturia, meaning waking up at night to urinate. As we age, two physiological changes naturally occur in our bodies. First, our body decreases its production of vasopressin. This antidiuretic hormone normally tells our kidneys to slow down urine production at night. Second, the valves inside the veins of our legs become much less efficient. Throughout the day, when you are standing or sitting, gravity constantly pulls fluids down into your lower extremities. By the evening, you might notice a slight swelling or deep sock marks around your ankles, known as peripheral edema. Here is the critical part that most people miss. When you lie flat in your bed to sleep, gravity is no longer holding that fluid down in your legs. That fluid re-enters your bloodstream and circulates straight back up to your kidneys. Your kidneys detect this sudden increase in fluid volume and do exactly what they are designed to do. They process all of it into urine. Essentially, you are not waking up because your bladder is too small. You are waking up because your body is trying to drain the fluid that accumulated in your legs all day. Understanding this mechanism is the absolute key to reclaiming your sleep tonight. Now that we understand why fluid accumulates and wakes us up, we must take educational and physiological steps to manage it before bedtime. We begin our practical routine with the most powerful intervention in this entire protocol. This step directly addresses the fluid volume issue by combining gravity-assisted drainage with focused diaphragmatic breathing. To clear the edema from your lower body, we need to reverse the hydrostatic pressure that keeps fluid trapped in your feet. You can do this safely by elevating your legs higher than your heart level. You might stack several pillows at the foot of your bed or simply rest your legs up against a wall. From an educational perspective, physics is now working in your favor. This elevated position allows the venous blood and lymphatic fluid to drain effortlessly back toward your core. However, simply elevating your legs is only half of the equation. To move this lymphatic fluid effectively, your body requires a pump. The main pump for your lymphatic system is your diaphragm. We will utilize a specific breathing pattern to stimulate the vagus nerve, which runs from the brainstem to your abdomen and controls your relaxation response. Place one hand on your belly. Inhale deeply through your nose for a count of 4, ensuring your hand rises and not your chest. Hold that breath for 2 seconds. Then, exhale slowly through pursed lips for a count of 6. This prolonged exhalation increases pressure in the abdomen and helps push fluid from the legs into the thoracic duct for processing. Doing this for just 3 minutes creates a powerful vacuum effect. It proactively clears congestion from the lower body while you are awake, preventing your kidneys from doing this work while you sleep. Now that we have utilized gravity and breathing to move fluid out of your legs, we must address the physical tension surrounding your bladder. There is a common misconception that bladder issues in seniors are always due to weak pelvic muscles that need to be strengthened. However, from an anatomical perspective, the issue is often an overly tight pelvic floor that never fully relaxes. A muscle that is constantly tight is actually a weak muscle because it loses its functional range of motion. To address this safely, we will use a restorative posture called the reclined butterfly position. Lie flat on your back, place the soles of your feet together, and let your knees gently fall open to the sides. it is absolutely vital to place pillows under your knees for support. If you have to use any muscular effort to hold your legs in place, the exercise will not work. We want complete passive release. In this supported position, the muscles of your inner thighs lengthen and the pelvic floor completely relaxes. From an educational viewpoint, this sends a powerful neurological signal to your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest mode. When your body is in a state of stress, it instinctively tries to empty the bladder to make you lighter for running. By inducing deep relaxation in the pelvic region, we dampen that false urgency signal. You are essentially telling your nervous system that you are safe, you are resting, and there is no need to be on high alert. I would love to hear your experiences with this technique, so please leave a comment below sharing how this relaxing posture feels for your body. Following the deep relaxation of the pelvic floor from our previous posture, we must now address another structural issue that directly impacts your bladder capacity. We will focus on the back of your legs, specifically the hamstrings, using a technique known as a gentle nerve glide. From an educational standpoint, it is important to understand how our daily habits affect our internal anatomy. Many seniors suffer from chronically shortened hamstring muscles simply due to prolonged periods of sitting throughout the day. When these muscles become abnormally tight, they can physically tilt your pelvis into an unnatural position. This anterior pelvic tilt actively reduces the physical space available for your bladder to expand, which increases the mechanical pressure on the organ and creates a false sense of urgency even when it is not full. To correct this alignment, we are not going to perform a static or aggressive stretch. Aggressive stretching can sometimes irritate the sciatic nerve and cause more harm than good. Instead, we will use a safe, dynamic movement. While still lying flat on your back, lift one leg with your knee slightly bent. Slowly and gently extend your heel upward toward the ceiling until you feel a very mild resistance, and then immediately release it back down. This creates a gentle pulsing motion rather than a forceful pull. By repeating this smooth movement, you safely mobilize the sciatic nerve and gradually lengthen the hamstring muscles without causing any micro-trauma to the tissues. As these muscles loosen over time, they allow your pelvis to naturally settle back into a neutral and healthy resting position. Taking this mechanical pressure off the pelvic cavity ensures your bladder has the optimal space it needs to comfortably hold fluid throughout the entire night. As we continue to release tension from the lower body, we must look at how everything is connected through what experts call the kinetic chain. The human body does not operate as isolated parts. For many older adults, chronic tightness in the lumbar spine or lower back can have a surprising effect on the pelvic cavity. From an educational perspective, it is crucial to understand that when your lower back is tight, it can compress the delicate nerves exiting the spine that communicate directly with your bladder and pelvic floor. Furthermore, this tension keeps your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight response, in a constant state of low-level activation. When your nervous system feels agitated, it naturally inhibits deep sleep and artificially increases your bladder urgency. To counteract this, we will move into our next restorative posture, which is the single knee hug. This movement acts as a gentle lumbar decompression maneuver. While you are still lying flat on your back, gently draw one knee toward your chest, holding onto your shin or the back of your thigh. If you have any knee issues, the objective here is not to force the joint, but simply to elongate the lower back muscles on that specific side. As you hold this position, you are opening up the spaces between your vertebrae and relieving those minor impingements. Please alternate legs slowly moving with the smooth fluidity of being underwater. This slow and deliberate pacing is essential because quick or jerky movements can trigger a reflex that actually tightens the muscles further. If you are finding this educational approach to your health valuable, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so we can continue bringing you more evidence-based senior care content. Now that we have successfully decompressed your lumbar spine and created optimal space within your pelvic cavity, we arrive at the foundational movement of our physical routine. To complete this sequence, we must address the very bottom of the kinetic chain where the fluid accumulation originally begins. We are going to focus on your calf muscles, which are frequently referred to in medical anatomy as your second heart. From an educational perspective, understanding this concept is incredibly empowering. Your primary heart pumps blood down to your feet, but it relies heavily on the muscular contraction of your calves to pump that venous blood and lymphatic fluid back up against gravity. When we sit or remain sedentary for long hours, this crucial mechanical pump stays dormant, leading to the peripheral edema we discussed earlier. To manually activate this pump safely, we will perform a controlled movement called ankle pumps. You can do this while still lying flat on your bed or sitting with your legs fully extended. The movement is remarkably simple, but highly effective for fluid drainage. Gently point your toes away from you, and then actively pull them back toward your shins. We are not just wiggling our toes here, we are deliberately engaging a biological hydraulic mechanism. Perform this smooth rhythmic motion for about 1 minute. As you pull your toes backward, you should feel a distinct stretch in your calf, which maximizes the efficiency of the pumping action. By performing this targeted mechanical movement, you are proactively forcing that trapped fluid back into your main circulation. This ensures your kidneys can process the fluid while you are still awake and safely near a bathroom, rather than hours later in the middle of your sleep cycle. To maintain the profound benefits of these mechanical movements, we must integrate them into a broader educational lifestyle strategy. We call this the 3-2-1 protocol, which is a deliberate countdown to bedtime designed to perfectly align with your natural metabolic rhythms. The number 3 represents stopping all food intake 3 hours before you plan to sleep. From a physiological standpoint, digestion is incredibly demanding and naturally raises your core body temperature. For deep restorative sleep to occur, your internal temperature needs to drop. Furthermore, eating late triggers an insulin release, which can directly interfere with melatonin production, your primary sleep hormone. The number 2 stands for stopping all fluid intake exactly 2 hours before bed. This educational guideline is based on your glomerular filtration rate, which is the medical term for the speed at which your kidneys process blood and fluids. It generally takes about 60 to 90 minutes for the water you drink to process through your kidneys and reach your bladder. By cutting off fluids 2 hours prior, with the exception of tiny sips for essential medication, you ensure that the vast majority of your daily hydration has been processed and voided long before you close your eyes. Finally, the number 1 represents performing the specific physical routine we just discussed, exactly 1 hour before bed. By doing the ankle pumps and elevation exercises an hour before sleep, you proactively invite all that trapped fluid back to the bladder while you are still awake. This strategic timing allows for one final and complete voiding of the bladder right before you get under the covers, leaving your system entirely empty for the night. Coupled with this biological timing, we must also manage our environment during that final hour before bed. Bright lights and blue light from screens actively suppress your melatonin production. I highly recommend switching to warm and dim lighting to mimic a natural sunset. You might also find incredible value in keeping a daily sleep diary. This is not just a record of your bad nights, but a practical tool to identify patterns regarding your diet, stress levels, and daily activity. Health is rarely random. It is almost always a direct result of cause and effect. By understanding the underlying physiology of fluid retention and the biomechanics of your pelvic region, you no longer have to be a passive victim of aging. Instead, you become an active participant in your own well-being. To summarize our entire approach today, we learned how to mechanically drain trapped fluid from the legs, release structural tension along the kinetic chain, and implement the 3-2-1 protocol to align with our metabolic rhythms. These adjustments are completely safe, non-invasive, and deeply grounded in the true science of how the human body functions. I strongly encourage you to try this routine tonight. Be patient with your body and observe the positive differences. If you found this educational video valuable, please leave a comment below with your thoughts. Hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more science-based senior health content.